ironic because I feel Germany was really hesitant to go digital, and now digitalization is forced upon us, and we have to just do it. Okay, I think we can wait 2 more minutes for people to join. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the YouTube live stream is starting. So. Which I think is lovely.
Okay, cool. Welcome everyone. We are a lot of people right now. Welcome Greta, who's joined us today, who is with her dog. Can you show us your dog again?
He won't leave me alone. He just wants me to keep pet him, and yeah, I can do that at the same time, I guess.
Okay, perfect. We have Carla, do you want to start with a technical introduction?
Yes, so for everybody who's in here in the Zoom, not for the people on YouTube, sadly, but there is a Q&A function. It's either called Q&A, or for the German people, it's F&A. And you can send in questions there and we will see them here. So we can pose those questions to Greta. Feel free to also post them in German. I don't know any other languages, so English I think would be the best if you are insecure about English. Yeah, and we'll be happy to ask. It's probably not possible to ask all those questions, but we'll try to ask as many as possible. Yeah, and at first, welcome everybody again. Feel free to copy the link or paste the Zoom link to other climate strikers and invite even more people.
Yeah, thank you. We have about 45 minutes to an hour to chat about things and to catch up and to ask questions that we have. This is a webinar which is part of a webinar series that was started by the German Fridays for Future section. We started this week to basically every day organize digital educational content for everyone, for the public to join. And this is basically a Friday edition, which is obviously a special edition because it's a Friday, and we are engaging in digital striking, of course. So for starters, maybe we do like a super quick introduction round. We will be 4 of us hosting. I'm Louisa from Germany, striking and organizing with Fridays for Future, and I'm currently in Berlin. And maybe the rest of you 3 want to introduce yourselves too.
Yeah. Should I start? Okay. I'm Helena, and I'm also, striking and organizing with Fridays for Future in Germany. And I'm in Oberursel right now, which is the most beautiful town, in my opinion. So, yeah.
Hi, I'm Carla. I'm striking in Münster in Germany. Yeah, and I'm obviously also at home in my flatmate. My flatmate is moving out, so I'll be alone after enough Corona sitting. But yeah, I'm very happy you're all here. We're getting even more and more people, which is very lovely.
Greta, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, my name is Greta Thunberg. I am sitting right now in Stockholm, and yeah, I'm sitting here with my dog next to me. So if you see anything white, fluffy coming into like that, then you know it's my dog.
Yeah. Cool. We wanted to discuss a bit the current state of the world, which is basically even more chaotic than it used to be, obviously. And as most of us have been trying to put attention on one crisis, and now another crisis is emerging. We feel it's really important that we talk about this. First of all, maybe Greta, can you tell us a bit about how you have experienced the coronavirus so far? Like when did you hear about it, and what has it like turned into for you as an activist, but also for you personally?
Well, I mean, I guess just like everyone else, it just was something very distant for a very long time, and then it just became something very, very, very close to me, and something that everyone was just talking about all the time. And then it became like a global emergency, a pandemic. And yeah, the development has been very sudden. And I think, and then of course, as an activist, I and others decided to reduce the risk of spreading the virus as much as possible, to cancel or to postpone like marches that we had planned, so that we don't put anyone at risk, and to stay home as much as possible. So I think just like everyone else, I've been trying to listen to the experts and the authorities, and do what I've been advised to do by the experts.
I mean, I think it's like, we all in this time like have individual responsibility, and that is, to protect each other and to protect maybe people who are more at risk than, younger people. And, so that means staying home, and that means washing your hands, which should actually not be something we should have to discuss about. But obviously, I mean, it also has had effects on how we can continue this movement and how we can continue to raise awareness for the climate crisis, because we should never have to prioritize one crisis above another, and we should always in every case follow the science. But I think we obviously, just because corona is happening doesn't mean that our climate is still not changing and that the climate crisis isn't happening. And I think maybe we can talk about that a little bit, how we can, without talking down any other crisis, continue to raise awareness and continue to put pressure on policymakers to act on every important issue.
Yeah, what do you think about that? What does the corona crisis mean for the climate crisis?
Well, I mean, of course, it's another crisis, and every crisis needs to be treated as a crisis. And right now we must do what we can, and what we can do now as human beings and as activists is to follow the advice from the experts. But of course, the climate crisis is not going away, and it's just it's always going to be there. So of course we cannot, we will not forget about it. But right now it's like, yes, we can talk about it, but it's not going to be, people are not going to, it feels like, because the corona is such a big crisis right now, and so people are not going to listen very much to us, even if we keep pushing to raise awareness about the climate crisis. And so yeah, we just have to, of course, keep pushing, but don't let that take away focus from other crises. And we have not, yeah. So yeah, but it's a hard question, because these are very hard times, and I think everyone is quite confused what's happening, and we just have to wait and see what happens, and try to do as much as we can from home. And we we have to take care of each other, and because this is a crisis, and in a crisis you change your behavior, and that's what we are doing. And yeah, we have to wait and see how the situation develops.
Yeah, maybe that is maybe we can like put here as a disclaimer. Obviously, as Fridays for Future, we ask everyone to stay at home, to not engage in climate strikes, as you mentioned. And that is also something I think it's really important for us as like role models, as people who are being watched, as being very a vocal voice of a generation. As young people, obviously, we advise everyone to stay at home, to limit social contacts to a minimum, because we are endangering groups in risk. So I think it's really nice also to see this as a very symbolic meeting, where we actually on a Friday for once are all at home, not on the streets, discussing things without, potentially spreading the virus. Greta, people now seem to think that the coronavirus is doing the climate a favor because emissions are lowering. That is obviously a misconception, but maybe could you elaborate that a bit?
Well, I mean, no matter what the consequences may be of this corona crisis, we can never see this as something positive, because above all, people are dying, and it's a global emergency, and that's what we need to see it as and look at it as, and that's what it is, and it's a tragedy, and people are dying, and that's how we need to see it.
I mean, I would also add maybe that, stopping the climate crisis does not mean reducing emissions punctually. It means reducing emissions constantly and over many years. And so just because the corona crisis is, causing economic problems and causing emissions to sink right now, does not even necessarily mean that it's helping us beat the climate crisis. So in any case, we should never see it as something positive, and it isn't even anything positive.
Though it might be, well, it can seem like a depressing or quite depressing development, taking that many of us here, many of us in this call or in this webinar, but I mean, hundreds of thousands, millions of people have been trying to, demand actually change, behavior change for such a long time. We've been doing this for 1.5 years. Some have been doing this for decades. So now this corona crisis comes and everything is different, and suddenly we are actually taking a crisis seriously. Why is it that now this crisis is being taken seriously in like from one second to the other, whereas it has taken decades with the climate crisis? How can that be? What do you think?
Well, of course, this is because we have actually been treating this crisis like a crisis, and we have changed our behavior, and humans are social animals, and then we adapt, and we change our behavior in accordance to how others are behaving. And the media has been treating this crisis very much like a crisis, and the people in power as well, and we see the response of that, and of course then that is how we are behaving as well, because one thing leads to another, and it's all these behavior chains, I guess. But so yeah, I think one big key is that the media has been from the start been treating this as a real crisis, which it is.
And as a follow-up question, is this somehow proving that we have the capacity to act? Is this like a live example of that it is possible to react to crisis, and can we, maybe use that capacity to act in the future?
Well, of course, it does show that we can respond very quickly and work internationally and work together for a common goal. But of course, it cannot be a lesson like that, because it's led to so many bad things as well. People have been, because of the response, people have been losing their jobs and their incomes, and so of course the response, it does show that we can respond, but we need to of course make it a different response, obviously.
Is it, we have some questions from the people in this webinar. So obviously, I think what we can take away from this is a mindset that we are indeed capable of treating crises like a crisis, and we are capable of changing things in dimensions that probably few of us have envisioned we would be capable of. And I think this is one very important lesson we're learning right now, and it's something we should actually take with us and like conserve for future use, as in like what is the state for us right now. People have been asking, we have now the how can we keep the pressure regarding the climate crisis? So what do you think should be, like, what is now the role for climate activists? What would you advise climate activists to do these days?
Well, I mean, just because we cannot have big gatherings, that doesn't mean we can't keep the pressure up. We can still do that online, and even though we cannot keep the focus on the climate crisis, we still have to make sure that, of course, the people don't forget about it, and we have to bear in mind that people are going to use the corona crisis as a reason to boost business as usual, and to keep, and to, for example, scrap climate policies and that are already existing, and then of course we must not allow that to happen. But we need to make sure that the response and the way we recover is actually the right way to do it. But for one thing you can do is to have like online strikes, which we've been having, and like this is one initiative that you are doing, and we are also trying to do more initiatives. So yeah, there are definitely lots of things you can do, but you have to be creative and not get discouraged, and remember that it will be hard in these times, because no one, I mean, because you won't get the focus that you have been getting earlier, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't keep going.
Yeah, I mean, actually, that's a question that came a lot with people asking, how do we not get discouraged in times like these, and how do we keep going? And I guess, I mean, it's also through initiatives like this, but yeah, people are asking, like, Greta, how do we not lose hope? How do we keep going?
I say, I just do not get discouraged, simply because I've decided from the start that I will not allow myself to be that. And then to also think, like, as long as someone is doing something, then there is hope, and as long as you are doing something, then there is hope. So, and as long as we are trying to do something, and as long as we are fighting for this, there is hope. So, and that we just simply must not allow ourselves to give up and to become discouraged, and that we also know that this is a marathon, not a sprint, that we prepare ourselves to to actually have to go on for a very long time, and to just be stuck in a position, not getting anywhere, and still continue, still not give up, to prepare yourselves that it will be we're in it for the long run.
I mean, yeah, and I also guess that's what we've been doing from the beginning, you know, getting hope through action and through creating spaces for ourselves. I mean, we were never supposed to strike school, and we were never supposed to protest, and we did that anyway. You know, we took like the streets for ourselves. And I think, you know, now we're taking part of the internet for ourselves, and, you know, doing webinars and doing online strikes and posting pictures. And I think, you know, we're not going to get anywhere if we wait until like an opportunity is handed to us, because you know, media doesn't really work that way. And I think if we, you know, instead we are proactive and take those opportunities ourselves, and we can continue, you know, to act and to do something. And yeah, and I think a lot of people are also asking how do we deal with this pressure of, like, I mean, obviously also personal pressure on you, Greta, but also the pressure of, you know, being a movement and being a generation that has been the catalyst for change, and that has been like again and again mentioned as, you know, keep going, keep pushing. So I guess like on two levels, how do we deal with that pressure?
Well, I mean, first of all, you have to see this as something you want to do and that you enjoy doing. Because if you just see this as some kind of something you need to do and something you don't want to do, then it will be very hard to keep going. And you just have to see it from a bigger perspective, and at least if you at least you can say that you will have done everything you could have done, and at least that makes me feel good. I mean, to just know that I'm doing everything I can, and to see it from a bigger perspective, like if in a few years time or in a few decades, I will be very happy that I did this right now, and that we really did fight. And also one thing you have to do is to look after yourself and take care of yourself, and allow yourself to have fun and to laugh and to do things that you enjoy doing. Like for instance, I'm with my dogs because that makes me feel good, and I also like read about things I find interesting. And now when I'm at home and when I have so much time to spare, I've started knitting and like writing lists. I also write a diary too, because that also makes it easier to not have the emotions, that you don't feel like you have to carry around the emotions and feelings, that you can actually write them down, and that is something that is very helpful.
So I think a really interesting idea that as climate activists, we have been discussing like sustainable activism and self-care for like months and years. And I would say we've been pretty bad in this. So as a movement, most people would probably agree that we suck in sustainable activism. And that counts for everyone. I would possibly include you there, Greta, too, with like so much going on everywhere, and having like we are out and about all the time. And now within within all this mess and this chaos and the damages and the suffering and so on, I think there is actually this opportunity for people like us to like breathe and to do this capacity building that starts with taking care of yourself. We just had a global climate strike, which we now have digitally. And it was for the first time ever that we were from 5 different continents, which is huge. It's like we were from around the world, and people from India and the Czech Republic and the US and Argentina, everyone would kind of come together and share. And it sounds very simple, but actually that never happens. And so I think there are these tiny moments of beauty that we could actually like embrace, and try to realize and experience as much as possible, despite the mess we're in, and despite the necessity for each and every one of us to stay at home, to stay healthy, to take care of the elderly, to not go and hug your grandmother, but to write messages to family members that you can't see and stuff.
Yeah. And to also to allow yourself to actually think back on the victories that we've had, because together as climate activists we have created lots of public awareness, and we have actually achieved many things, even though maybe not what we wanted, not exactly what we wanted, but at least we have done something. And sometimes you just need to allow yourself to be, I don't know, proud, or something like that.
About that.
I think this is also like a time that we can use to like reflect and happen in the last year. And a lot of people want to know actually what your favorite strike ever was, Greta. I don't know if that's too hard of a question. But maybe you can talk about, maybe you can have like a few favorites.
Oh no. I don't know. I've striked a lot of times. This is week 83, and the last 2 weeks I've been at home. And I don't know, but some very good strikes have been, of course, the first one, when I was alone, because it just felt very powerful and also it's been fun to go to these big strikes when you see all the people and just, yeah, I mean, just recently the Bristol in Hamburg, they like strikes like that, because you actually see that there was a massive turnout, and you see that people actually care, and that people and it's hard. I don't have a particular favorite one, but I like all strikes.
Yeah, that was kind of a mean question, so I apologize for that.
But yeah, maybe that could be for every climate activist listening. That is something you can maybe think about sometimes, especially when organizing strikes. It seems to me that there is barely the strike moment happening, because you're rushing. Then you're doing a speech maybe, or doing some organizing, and then you're rushing again, and then you're sleeping. And so maybe that is something we can do. I believe maybe we can discuss some things about the climate, given that we're still in the climate crisis. And I was wondering, like, what can we expect from this year in terms of the climate crisis? We know that temperatures are still rising. We know that this winter, for instance, was the hottest in Europe ever recorded. We know that there will be floods and extreme weather events this year, in addition to the corona crisis going on. How do we make sure that like these crises aren't being played out against each other? and what does it mean for people caring about the climate crisis that now we have to do 2 crises?
Well, I mean, what we are doing and what we are encouraging people to do and telling people to do is always to listen to the science and unite behind the science, and that of course applies for every case, for every crisis, and that's how we are going to have to act. And I think we have been doing that. Of course, it may be hard for some. I mean, I don't know. It's just a bit what I talked about earlier, that we have to treat both crises like a crisis at the same time, and remember that the climate crisis will of course not go away.
Do you think there will be so obviously we are now in a global, or we're rushing into a global economic crisis, which is obviously disastrous, and a lot of people will lose their jobs, and we don't know yet, but it looks really, really bad, and there will be a lot of existential suffering. At the same time, there will probably not anytime soon be this moment in history again that actually we are at the point where we rebuild economies. Do you think there is chances, opportunities even arising from this disruption of the economy to shift towards a green or like zero emission economy or so?
Well, I mean, of course, it will be a completely new situation, because I mean, we have not seen anything like this before. And of course that will have new opportunities, but I mean, I choose not to see it like that. It's because if you would see it as some kind of opportunity or new beginning, then I mean, first of all, we need to make sure that everyone is safe, and that we limit the amount of suffering as much as possible, and that this is a tragedy, and of course we need to handle it as such. And yeah, like we said, we have no idea how it's going to look like afterwards, and we just have to see what we can do then and what needs to be done to make sure that we move in the right direction.
I kind of have, or I wonder whether during the last 1.5 years we have learned so much about the climate crisis as a collective, as humanity, that now when making important decisions, we've come to a point that we actually take the ecological crisis into consideration too. Like at some point we will have to prioritize like which way we go. And there might be this moment that we've actually learned from the past to not make mistakes twice, but to solve the corona crisis as sustainably and efficiently and just as possible, including environmental justice aspects, which I think might be an opportunity actually, or not an opportunity, less a little light on the horizon when it comes to us having to tackle 2 crises. Yeah, should we, I wonder, there are lots of questions now in our question thing. Lots of questions about hope always. We discussed that. Will you study again? Will you go and study at some point this year again?
Yes, I certainly hope so, because now I'm on a sabbatical year, and then my school will start then in August. Now we'll see how everything plays out, but I think it will still be be possible to do that. And so yeah, and that I'm looking forward to have some kind of normal routine, something, and because I actually enjoy studying, because I am a nerd. And so yeah, I will.
And if the school opens on time. Yeah. There is maybe another question on that level. Do you have a favorite vegan food?
I do, or maybe I have like periods, like during one period of time I'm really into something, and then I get sick of that and I change, and during that period of time I'm really into something. And right now I don't know, I guess I'm really into, I don't know. What?
Can you repeat that? Your dog is so noisy.
Okay.
Your dog is so noisy. Can you repeat what you just said?
Yeah. I have like one period of time I'm really into something, and then I get sick of that, and then I get really into something else, and so on. It goes on forever. And right now I'm really into pears, and also like baked beans, and mushrooms.
Ah. Do you eat all of that together?
No. No. And recently I was in like a pickle period, but now I'm a bit sick of that.
Okay. Thank you. Moving on to pears. Then there are questions on people you met, and I don't think we want to go like people are asking about because you met so many impressive people in the last year. Are there moments when you meet someone, like do you ever have this thing where you meet a very very famous person and you're like, oh my god, that person is really famous, like a star thingy where you're like
Starstruck.
yeah.
I've actually only had that once, and that was when I met Malala.
Ah, really?
Yeah. Because she's one of my biggest role models, and I was meeting her, and yeah, I was a bit starstruck then. But I don't usually get that. It just once.
That's really funny. Was she starstruck too?
I don't know. I don't think I'm not nearly as impressive as she is. So I mean, I don't know, but I was definitely starstruck.
Okay. Good. That is high if Malala will ever see this. It's a pretty cool thing to tell, actually. So people are asking medical questions. I don't think this is a place to discuss medical question. Listen to this. Then I think because there's so many climate activists listening, we have global strikes organized. We had them organized due to April. And for most climate activists, there's global strikes actually for everyone, they're really important. The first one is just a year ago. And ever since, there were dates when we all got together and were mobilizing everywhere. What do you think can a global strike look like in times of bans and shutdowns and stay-at-home regulations?
I have no idea. I mean, we've been discussing that a lot recently, and many local groups have many good ideas. Some people are gonna go out on their balconies and do chants and have banners on their balconies, and some people are gonna do a live stream, and some people are. I mean, of course, it depends on where you live. In some places, it's not as big of a risk to be outside, and and some people are gonna have like online actions, like everyone calls up their representative, or like this today, I think it's Polluters Out campaign. And there are many like different campaigns and live streams, and of course you can just as well post a picture of you at home with a sign and like online. Yeah, I have my sign over there. I don't have my big sign today, so I have to draw it on a paper. Yeah, but there are many things that you can do, and we are discussing that a lot, and I think it will be very much up to local groups on how they want to do it. But I think definitely, I mean, just I like the balcony idea, and I like all these ideas, and we will definitely do live streams, and just that people post picture of themselves at home with a sign.
I think that's a very important message, you know. It's April, it's time of global strikes. We can't do them on the streets, we do them on the internet. And there will be stuff happening. And I think we now actually have time to gather all the creativity there is. And there will be stuff going on. And yes, this is a very, there are vibrant discussions about that.
Yeah.
Maybe this is also the time that we mention that this is not the last time we will speak in this kind of setting.
Yeah.
Greta, like, do you wanna present also or explain what is happening from next week on Friday? Like, what is happening from next Friday onwards?
Yes, next week we are starting an initiative. We are not 100% sure about the name yet, but we think it's going to be like Talks for Future. And that is that we are going to have webinars like these that we broadcast live, and that people can join, and that will also be available afterwards, where we invite different kinds of experts and just interesting people in general to talk about what they are doing, or to talk about, to have lectures, like everything from climate scientists to economists, and especially now since many schools are closed, that we in a way provide online education about the climate, of course, but many other things as well, because we feel like this is a good opportunity to do something like that, and to put out information that we think people should have access to. And we will have these weekly for as long as possible, and for as long as it's needed, and yeah, add anything if I forgot anything.
Yeah.
And also that, of course, this will only be an addition to the other campaigns and the climate strikes online we are doing. And yes, I know schools are out and we are still striking, but we are doing it out of principle. We are doing it because we have said we are going to do it every Friday, and so we are. It's just our thing.
I would add that the people who are, have been watching the German webinars the last 2 days that we've started, that's also going to continue, and that these international talks for climate, or what the name ends up being, will also, be, if you follow our webinars, we'll also be promoting those, and you can get all the access links and stuff. So just stay tuned onto like our social media channels and everything, and we'll let you know what's coming next week.
There's one thing I always wanted to say. It's going to be now. Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
And hit the bell for notifications and give us a thumbs up.
This is do it, then you won't miss anything, and you won't miss any experts coming, any talk. And actually, we are overwhelmed that all, like, so many people that we like are super excited to meet actually now have time, because their talks and their lectures and their travels and everything is cancelled.
Yeah.
So if you ever wanted to meet incredible people, this is the time in history that you can do it, weirdly enough. So that is happening, and yeah, follow us. We have like a few minutes left, and I would invite all of you who are wanting to ask questions to do that now. You can do it when you're part of this Zoom webinar. On YouTube, unfortunately, that's not as possible.
You can do it on YouTube though. You can write in the YouTube live chat. There is a live chat.
Okay.
So
Oh, one question that's kind of like people are asking where they can suggest people for topics and people that we should talk to. You can either send us a message on like our Instagram channel, where we've been also gathering suggestions in the last days. So if you have someone that you think we should definitely, who should definitely give a webinar in the next weeks, just like send us a message on social media, and we can try and make it work.
I think it's we are almost okay, maybe we can do two more fun questions that we don't usually discuss, but that maybe people want to know about. One thing is, you talked about routines. Is there anything like a daily routine? Like, is there any aspect of that you would feel comfortable with sharing?
Well, of course, it's different now during these times when I stayed a lot indoors, since I just came home from a trip, and so then I guess you just have to find new routines. But I've been like every day when I wake up, after I eat breakfast, I always write in my diary, and then I make lists, and then I get on to do work, and then also and then I have some kind of routine throughout the day, and then in the evening I always eat a pear. Like yeah, and sorry.
Before there was a pear period, would you eat pickles in the evening?
No, then I would eat oranges.
Cool. Good. Anything? Are you scared of vision? Is there something? We obviously have a lot of people suffering right now, and a lot of people are now wondering, as you're European too, and lots of Europeans here, we have the situation with refugees and being trapped in Greece. And do you have anything to say to that? Do you like? Do you feel like, you want to mention, like, you want to add something to that or comment up on that?
I mean, I guess I have really nothing to say except it's a humanitarian crisis, and we need to help everyone we can and to help those in need. And especially now in Corona times, when there's a big risk that it would spread, and many people are very concerned about that. And so yeah, it's a humanitarian crisis, and we need to stand together to be able to help these people in any way we can.
Okay, I think that was really nicely said, and maybe that is even a nice ending for this talk. What do you think? Okay, I think we will say goodbye. And thank everyone for being here and listening and watching and maybe even catching up later.
And
Just
stay inside, people. It's cool. Have a good day inside at home.
we all stay at home, and maybe just to wrap up very briefly, what is new? We are in a corona crisis. This means we are staying at home. We are keep on striking on Fridays. We will do webinars from Germany onwards every day. Internationally, they will be on every Friday. If you're watching on YouTube, follow this channel because you will then stay updated for any further international webinar to come, and we will invite experts and everyone is invited. This is a crisis. It needs to be treated like a crisis, and that means everyone and everywhere should be able to feel safe because we take care of each other. Okay, cool. Thank you, Greta, for joining us from Stockholm.
Thank you for organizing, and thank you everyone else for joining live. And thank you for questions. And take care, listen to the experts, and yeah, be happy.
Okay.
Bye.
Have a great afternoon, everyone.
You too.